Health experts are warning that South Asia, the most densely populated region on the planet, could be the next coronavirus hotspot. The region includes India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan and the Maldives. Altogether, they have a population of nearly 2 billion people. Cases of Covid-19 in South Asia have quadrupled over the past week alone. The tally has hit around 600, with most of the cases in Pakistan and India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a single-day voluntary lockdown for Sunday. New Delhi will also ban all incoming international flights for a week on the same day. Experts fear India and its neighbours may be at the start of a deadly curve, similar to what we've been seeing happen in Europe. Neha Punya joins us now from New Delhi for more. Neha, tell us more about the concerns of this outbreak spiking in Southeast Asia with its very large population.
I think the biggest concern here is the very high population density. I mean, we're talking about countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, where people literally live cheek by jowl in very congested quarters. And that's a recipe for disaster at a time when social distancing has become the buzzword that everyone is using. Let's look at some of these countries individually. When it comes to India, we have a massively overrun state healthcare infrastructure. The country spends less than 4% of its $1 trillion GDP on state healthcare. For example, you have 1 million doctors for 1.3 billion people. You have half a bed for 1,000 people in a particular area, and access to healthcare facilities is severely limited. In Pakistan, it's a similar situation playing out as well. The country's prime minister admitting a few days ago that the country is simply not prepared for a mass breakout. They don't have the resources or the ability to deal with something like that. It's a similar story in Bangladesh as well, where many people are raising questions about the healthcare infrastructure. And one thing that ties all of these countries together, with perhaps the exception of Sri Lanka and Maldives, is how little they're testing. For example, in India, the government is currently testing 9 people per million, and that's nowhere near enough.
Neha, how are people in India reacting? Do they feel that the government is doing enough at this time?
That's a tough question to answer, Steve, primarily because how people are responding to this crisis has been very mixed so far. A lot of people still out and about on the streets, though the numbers have dwindled significantly since Prime Minister Modi's address to the nation on Thursday, where he underscored the importance of self-isolation and keeping yourself at home to ensure you're not spreading the virus to other people. Many others believe the government is doing enough. There's a daily health ministry briefing that happens, but questions about transparency are being raised. The government claims that there's no community transmission. That essentially means that this virus is not spreading unchecked from person to person, and the government maintains that almost all the cases so far are imported or of people who've come in contact with someone who's returned from international travel. But every question that's asked to the government about possible community transmissions, like experts are claiming, goes unanswered. And the reason about these doubts being raised is because, like I said, India is not testing enough. The government says it doesn't want to create mass panic by testing everyone, and that is in direct contradiction of what the WHO is recommending, what we're seeing in countries like South Korea, where they have, to some extent, been able to bring this crisis under control.
Neha Punya, thanks very much for that. Speaking to us from New Delhi.